beautiful day today. Garden's looking great. Springtime is about to turn into summer. So here's one last tour before things are officially branded summer tours. Let's do it. In this bed we got a marigold in the corner, got lots of flower heads already, looking nice. Over here we got some eggplant next to it, and they're looking pretty fierce. They like the hotter weather, so hopefully next week they'll be happy. Everybody's got their suntan lotion on now. That's the kale and clay. Stuff is great. Almost everything in my garden gets hit by it at one point or another. The peppers have it on as a sun protectant, heat protectant, because next week it's going to get up into the 90s pretty severely, pretty quickly, so they're going to appreciate that. Helps cut down on that leaf curl and overall stress, just helps them thrive, you know. These guys are starting to take off after a bad start. You might have seen a couple videos back. These guys went into the ground real yellow, but now they're looking great. Doing a topping experiment, by the way. Not a great sample size, but some evidence. This one we topped. We pinched the top, so we try to get multiple shoots. We have 2 leads, but look how stunted it is compared to everything else. And honestly, a healthy plant is going to deliver you all these side shoots anyway. There's just no reason to top in our climate. We don't have a big enough window to grow these things to get that recovery time. Anyhow, that was a rant. Eggplants are doing great. They have clay on them as a protectant against flea beetles. They don't really need it, if I'm honest. It's just the clay does no harm. It's going to help them with the sun anyway, though eggplants like a lot more sun than the peppers, at least in our experience. Next door, finally got something to talk about. We got these nice rainbow shard coming up. This guy is red, obviously, and smaller, but I think this one's really cool. This yellow here. Here we got some cucumbers that we just dropped in about 4 days ago. They got transplanted out of the cells. These are lime crisp, a wonderful slicing cucumber, delicious. These are lemon. If you've grown them, you know they are very productive. We really like the flavor, and I think they make a nice pickle. We got dragon suyo over here. The suyo varieties seem really strong. Excited for those. And then we have artist down here, which is a parthenocarpic cucumber and will pollinate itself, or not need pollination. So a little bit of a bumper crop insurance there. Over to the left, we got a bunch of peas. Whole wall of them. These are shellers, so we're going to let them develop. In with those guys, we've got some tomatoes that are eventually going to overtake this bed, but we've still got some lettuce from springtime hanging around in here. We deployed the shade cloth a number of times on the hotter days, and it really paid off this year. By now, I can say with certainty, if we did not put that shade cloth there, these lettuces would all be bolting. We even have bok choy that hasn't bolted yet, which is pretty nuts, but all that stuff you see is going to come out soon, and then eventually it's just going to be tomatoes in this bed. All right, taking a cruise over here. We got mulch in between the beds, which is a luxury now. I didn't have that for a couple of years. But we're on to our main tomato bed. A lot of varieties that are really strong are planted in this bed, but we got peas up the back for now. We'll remove those in a few weeks probably when they slow down production. But these guys here are Chef's Choice orange tomatoes. This is a Yodfa that we have planted in between them. Yodfa is a great spring crop to like fill the space in your bed. It's a delicious sweet brassica that you can fry up every part of. And they're pretty sturdy. So we've got, this tomato bed is it's the yellow-orange tomato bed. So it's all Chef's Choice orange and then lemon boys. Got this nice marigold on the end. We are big believers in putting marigolds in our tomato beds and pretty much all our garden beds. It's supposed to be a nice pest deterrent, and they add a nice splash of color too. We went with yellow this year. Over here, we've got our largest squash so far. Again, these are already bigger a couple days later. A lot of damage on the leaves from cucumber beetle. That's the eternal struggle here. So we look for them in this newer growth. They like to hide in these new leaves. They're a pain in the butt. This other squash next door has been absolutely shredded by him. Some of the new leaves, what happens is they chew the heck out of the new leaves when they're small. Then they grow out into these awful looking leaves that are just skeletalized. Like, here is pretty much the worst it will ever be. Pretty bad, right? I know. So if we take a look inside that flower, you're going to see there's a cucumber beetle party going on, and we're going to have to take care of that. They like to have little promiscuous parties in the flowers, I've noticed. So if you're looking to hand pick them, that's a really good place to check, is both the male and the female flowers. Those are Costata romanesco plants, strong Italian heirloom. Next door we have a Julaverne. I got to work on that. French scallop squash, and then this guy is a Zucchetta tromboncino. Cool squash. Now I'm going to try to get you a shot of taking the path back to my compost bins, and I want to show you what's inside. On the way over, got a couple of pumpkins. These are smaller varieties. They're going to make nice little white pumpkins and then nice little orange and green pumpkins. Little decorative guys, but you can't eat them. We grow Casparita and little Pumpkimon, I think it's called. Continuing this way, you got the comfrey on either side of you. As usual, there are bees all over them. Working your way down, we've got another squash mound. These were direct sows that were beat up for a long time. There are a bunch of different winter squash, kombucha, that kind of thing. And then what I really wanted to show you is in this compost bin. Spoiler alert, it's compost. Cozy. Good girl. Got a bunch of compost here. Almost a cubic yard's worth. It's not all the way done, but it's close enough to use as a top dressing, or honestly, you could plant squash directly in that. It would probably be really happy. I'm going to use this to top dress a whole bunch of stuff, and I think I'm actually going to spoil those potato plants with it. Normally I wouldn't give them such high quality dirt, but I don't really have anything else, and I do want to hill them so I get a ton of potatoes. This is too good for potatoes. This is overboard, but I am still developing that bed, as I've said in past videos, so it'll be good to have more organic material in there. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a little bit of this good stuff. I despise you. Leave this place. Alright, nothing complicated about it. It's going to try to bury another few inches of each stem, at least. So I'm literally just going to start as a hill. If I end up with enough soil to raise the level in the bed between them, that's great, but we're going to focus on just hilling them for now. Another thing this last bit of hilling is going to do is any potatoes in there that are really superficial, like over the next few weeks, you'll start to see them poke out of the ground and they'll get green in spots. This is going to help stop that. So like any potatoes you do have, they're not going to get green and nasty on you. They're just going to be good potatoes still. Here we go. Show you what I'm aiming for. If you're wondering, this compost is, this pile is steaming. It's like a little hot, but it's not absurdly hot. I think it's gonna be good stuff. Okay, so you can go as wild as you want in one session. You can continue to add and add and add and hill them and try to get more space for potatoes to develop. Or you can just do it once or twice and see what happens. Here's the difference though. You can see there's like 4 or 5 inches of stem before any leaves that we could fill. Over here we've already done that. Nice. So I won't make you watch me do it 16 more times, but you get the idea. So I'll probably add more in another session, especially whereas I'm still trying to get more organic matter into this bed, but here's what we look like. Everybody's got their own individual little mound. Just mulching them heavy really with a nice compost. But you could use something closer to a topsoil. I wouldn't go as far as a sterile topsoil, but like you really don't need good dirt for lots of potatoes. I can tell you from experience, you just don't. But this will be a good investment in the bed. You want to see something funny? We dropped these watermelons in the ground. We just made a quick mound for them. And I don't know what happened with the nozzle, but I blasted the heck out of these little guys with clay. So these younger cucurbits, here's a huge tip if you're going to use clay as a deterrent for any kind of beetle. In this case, it's cucumber beetle that I'm worried about. So I really coated these guys because young melons especially get chewed to heck by them. You'll see them in the lower leaves. So if you've got a squash plant or a cucumber, and those middle leaves are curled up, still coming in, those little young ones, be sure to gently open them and look for the cucumber beetle. Be sure to gently open them and then spray the clay on them. That'll help protect them. So again, these are watermelons. We'll see if they do anything. These are felt collars, by the way, that help protect against slugs. They've worked really, really well in our experience. Just a piece of felt goes around the base, and slugs hate to crawl over it. Backing up from them, this whole area is actually pretty cool. I wasn't planning on showing it to you. This guy's starting to bolt a little bit, it looks like, so I'll have to take him. This is just a volunteer mustard plant that kind of came out of our compost here. Speaking of volunteers, we've got a volunteer kale that did the same, and a bunch of amaranth. So we tend to let things seed themselves every now and again so that we have some cool default seeds coming up in our beds, for lack of a better term. You know, like you get your weeds, but then a lot of time the weeds are cool things and you decide to leave them and they get a jump start on the season because they came up on their terms. So with the no-dig style, it's been really appealing to us to just kind of nurture things that pop up like amaranth, mustard, kale, all in one little section here. This stuff you can... pretty much all of it, you can put in salads at any point. So, you know, if you want to thin it, you just pull one, boom, salad material. Over here is a bunch of borage that came up in different places in our garden, and we are also nurturing, though we moved these. This is Cozy, our lovable garden pup, a Jack Russell Terrier of 11 years of age. Ain't she a beaut? Still looks like a puppy. Back into the garden, we got this lovely row of peas. These guys are directly in ground, which is something we don't normally do, but we are a no-dig style, so we're really interested in the nitrogen fixation. So we're gonna chop these guys once they're done in a few weeks and leave the roots right in to create a microbiome. We've got a lot of peas this year, actually. Been harvesting quite a few of them. Got to stay on top of them. Oh no! Bummer. They've been really tasty though. This is a variety called Blush. Really pretty pea. It's not my favorite flavor, but the aesthetics are top notch. This guy is a classic super sugar snap. Really common variety, really solid. Probably recommend that as a first pea to grow if you're looking for a first variety. Been picking these guys pretty well, so not too many right now. Over here we've got another row of peas, and these are shelling peas, so going to be flat for a while and then eventually plump up. We'll let them develop peas inside and then they'll get husked and the peas eaten that way by themselves. You don't eat the pod. Wow, that was a roundabout way of saying it. Pretty good amount coming in, which is good because it's going to be hot next week. And these guys are probably not going to be too happy after that. This big boy is called Yodfa. We've taken a number of these already. They don't usually get this big for us without bolting, but it's a brassica where you eat the leaves and the stem. Really, really tasty, good for intercropping, knowing that you're gonna pull it out later. Good for filling those little spaces. Another benefactor of the clay, it's my apple tree. This is an enterprise apple tree. We have not harvested off this tree yet. This is the first year that it flowered. It actually set some apples, which is cool. We actually didn't realize these were here because we weren't expecting them to set. Thought pollination was going to be a problem, so I did manage to spray them, and they're looking good so far. It would be great if we could get these too, because some others on the tree have been damaged by curculio, and it didn't set that many to begin with. Speaking of plums though, plum curculio had been an issue for this tree. I had a tough time getting the clay to actually stick onto these plums, but now we have a lot of really nice looking plums, and it's getting close to the point at which we're going to harvest them, so hoping the wildlife doesn't get any ideas and we can actually eat these. That would be great. This variety is called Shiro. It puts off a big yellow plum. We've had a couple of them in the past, and they're absolutely phenomenal. Really, really delicious. You can see the tree is starting to sag a little bit under the weight of all these. Don't have a whole ton of experience with fruit trees, but hopefully that'll be fine. A couple of nice ones there. We got areas of the tree where the fruit are pretty dense. I've been hesitant to prune those because we're losing so many to curculio. So I expect to lose more to either wildlife or curculio, so I'm actually just not going to touch these. I'm not going to thin these. I'm going to let them go in the hopes that enough survive. Got a lot on there though, you can see. Okay, one last thing to show you. If you walk between the fruit trees here, careful, don't trip over the strawberries or the netting. We put this dappled willow, or painted willow, or nashiki willow, whatever the heck you want to call it. It's a tree of many names. We put it out in the edge of the wet, basically, to help try to dry this back area of the garden, expand our range a little bit, but it looks stunning right now. I just wanted to take the time to show you. Pretty cool. It's got whitish pink tips, and then back toward the main stems it gets more toward like the green color you'd expect. So it's like a variegated leaf, but not in hard sections. It's very speckly. Pretty neat, huh? That's all for now, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to go ahead and smack the like button. That helps us grow so much, it really does. Consider subscribing if you want to see more stuff like this. Toss us a comment if you want the channel to go in a certain direction, you want to know variety names, you want tips with any one thing or another. Until next time, we will see you later at Garden by the Brook. Peace. La la la, music time, da 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 da.